Welcome everybody to Money, Life and Gags with Harry and Mark. How are you, Harry?
Mark, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. It's full on recovery's almost finished, and ready to get stuck into the next disaster I create for myself.
Good to hear. You know how we're never prepared to do these pods?
Absolutely, we're just purely organic, mate.
Mate,
Great
yeah,
guy.
it's natural at its best. So I'm going to fire some questions to
I
you.
was going to jump straight into it. Jeez.
Mate, let's just jump right into it. It might need to be nice to each other, but be frank and be bold.
Okay, and always honest and funny.
Okay, and always honest. I mean, since our show is called Money, Life and Gags, it concerns money and life and gags.
Well, hopefully we bring a few gags to the whole thing. So that's
Let's go for it, buddy. Worst investment decision you've ever made?
getting married first and then getting divorced. No, just joking.
You know what? You're probably right about that because we're in the same boat. It's just cost me a bloody fortune. Never thought about that.
Yeah, if you want to go another leg, mate, having children, that's not a great return on investment either. But I'm joking there too.
Children are a blessing.
Probably the worst investment I've ever made was when I was back. If you remember, I was talking about day trading, where I almost blew myself up. And
Oh, really?
yeah, in the tech crash, when the .com boom was happening in the markets, and I did that overnight trade, and that was the worst. I don't know if you call it investment because it was actually a trade, just a day trade. Outside of that, probably the worst investment I did was cutting an investment too early. And so there was a few mining things I was at back in the early days, and I got in at like 1-2 cents a share. And I thought when they got 15, 20 cents, how good's that? Took my money out, and those things went like the $20. And I left a lot of money on the table. So it depends on which lens you use that on. Is it money left on the table or close to blowing yourself up? I've had both experiences. And but yeah, how about you?
Yeah, but Mark, how do you know, just on that point, because I've been stuck as well, how do you know when to get out, mate? I mean, really?
Well, in mining stocks, I have fifths of idea when to get out because I don't understand it all. So I was happy that I made 15 times the money or whatever it was, and I was wrapped, right? So yeah, it's more what I left on the table for ignorance. But,
And the only reason you're saying that is because it kept going north. If it kept going south, you would say to yourself, geez, I'm a bloody hero.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, when we talk about worst investment decisions, I think cutting something too early without educating myself, probably a bit of a dumbass act, So, another one was CSL. Like I remember I was young and I got them in the IPO and they came out of the government and that went up. Yeah, I thought,
Oh, shit, get hurt.
I took that out early and now look where it is, so cutting things too early sometimes can backfire from what you leave on the table. But if you're talking about blowing up, yeah, that massive trade I took that were using the credit of brokers and that sort of stuff, that didn't go so good.
Just out of curiosity, with CSL, did you get on? Did you get in really early?
I got in the IPO. When they did the IPO.
Oh, yeah, nice. $2.
Yeah, it was like $2. Yeah, whatever it was. I can't remember the IPO price. Was like dirt cheap. I didn't have a lot, but I got like a 2,000 or 5,000 share allocation or something at the time.
Oh my God!
Everybody got, like, whoever applied, they got that sort of allocation.
Is that now a couple of $100?
Oh, more. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, you're kidding. Gee.
And that's after share reconstructions. Look, if you go back, probably like maybe $2,000 something, and
Okay.
I left a lot on the table on that one.
Wow. Okay. Next one.
What about you?
No, I don't want to say mine's a disaster.
Hey, you got to share it, mate.
No, it's a bloody disaster.
Or it covers the gags part.
It's look. The one that affected me the most, it probably is not the most amount of money that I've lost thus far, but the one that affected me, we don't need to say what the company is because I know that you were involved in it as well, is the app for children that could have rectified autism.
Ah, yes. Yes.
And the reason why I got emotionally involved with this one, because as you know, with my background, I have been involved with childcare centres. I've actually operated and owned one, actually a couple.
Yeah.
But because I know the kids space so well, I understand that parents go to great lengths to provide for the best medical health for their children. This one got probably to my head. Lost a lot. I've learned from that that in future, no matter how good the story is, I don't care who it is, I don't care what it is, I'll never put more than 5% of my investable funds. At least I've learned from that.
That's a good lesson learned.
Yeah, no,
For all the wrong reasons, but a good.
yeah. So look, that's probably the one that affected me the most because I put a lot of dough into that one. The rest, well, I knew I was speculating, so that didn't worry me. This one was a certainty for me. But anyway, it is what it is, and you just move on.
Well, the other lesson is there's no such thing as a certainty, eh?
That's what I've learned, and hence why I've convinced myself that no matter what comes across my desk, it's never more than 5% of my investable funds. Because if you think that you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, it almost has to be a fluke so you can go up, 10, 15, 20, 100 times. So I'd rather play it safe and not more than 5% of my investable funds. That's a key rule for me now.
Yeah. I think the other thing also is, if you're involved in that company, then you're a little bit in control of its destiny. Because actually you're an investor. It's you're just relying on other people to deliver on things. And by the time you find out it hasn't worked, it's probably too late. And,
Yeah, no, good point. Okay, let's roll to the second one.
all right.
Worst advice someone has given you.
Worst advice?
It doesn't have to be financial. It can be anything.
I don't generally take a lot of advice from anybody, so it's hard to quote what the.
Has someone tried to guide you when you were a younger man?
A lot of people tried, but but I'm as I said in the last podcast, I'm a bit of a lone wolf. So anyone who tries is sort of hitting their head against a brick wall. I don't take a lot of that sort of stuff, so it's hard for me to give you anything where I got bad advice because I don't take advice.
Right.
'Cause, I'm not saying it's a great quality. I'm just saying in my makeup, just trying to think. Probably and this is going to be a bit stupid, but probably the best advice I did receive that I do use is surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And so I do that, and most of that is like as you know, I'm in companies that are in pharmaceuticals and in technology and so forth. Most of those things I don't actually understand the intricacies of those businesses. I know they're strategic, I know the macro, and I know how you manage people and so forth. But a cancer drug, I don't know enough about a cancer drug, but I could talk to you about the intricacies of that. So you surround yourself with people who are experts in those areas. And so that's
The worst advice that I've been given to me started from my parents.
Yeah.
And it kept on going for a couple of years. And it was the notion that, okay, you've finished school now. You're going to get into the workforce. Head down, bum up. I didn't mind that. Be loyal to your employer. I guess that's a logical thing to say.
Yeah.
And just make sure that you work for the next 40 years, as long as you're respectable and honest. So my first job, I think I lasted 3 weeks. I mean, imagine someone telling me what to do. I mean, that gave me the shit. I just can't do it. So,
you're not dissimilar to me. Like you don't take the advice.
No. And the fact that I can't control my destiny in terms of my income, that infuriates me. Or the advice that I've been given, you know what, you're 22 or you're 23, it may take 10 years for you to move up the corporate ladder. Well, I wanted it next week. I'm not going to wait 10 years. So, and for me, that was the worst advice that I've been given. And the other part that I struggle with, it takes time. It takes a long time to become successful. No, it doesn't. You just have to cram things in a short period of time so you can get to success. So this idea of time for me means nothing. Some people can get to it in five years. Some people may get to it in 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Time for me, Mark, means nothing. So I hear people saying you need to take your time or just take your time. I don't believe in that.
It depends on the situation, right? And so if you look at it from an investment point of view, time generally is your friend because as we both like trading, and so we do everything in shortism, but true investment returns are made over time. And so when you look at that type of advice is good there. But if you talk about careers and stuff in life to do, yeah, we only got one life. Why wait around like we're not trees. We're not going to grow 100 feet in the air. over 200 years, not going to be around that long. So you've got to gun it now.
I think so too. So, and I reckon I've got to put my glasses on because I can't even read the other question. Oh, no wonder.
Was that the other advice?
Read it.
What you
Oh,
got?
yeah. Okay, here we go. Biggest surprise you've ever had?
Biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise you've ever had?
Geez, you can throw some curly ones at me today.
Oh, mate, it just makes sense.
Oh, I know. Biggest
surprise you've ever had. It can be anything, but it's a total surprise.
Probably how much I enjoy being a father. Because on one side I'm quite headstrong. I want everything my way. I don't listen to anybody or anything of that nature. But on the other side, I really enjoy being part of a family. I love family life. I love my children. I love my wife. So that's probably, the two are not usually entwined together. Generally selfish careers, people just get dragged along, but there's not that bond. Where I'm surprised that I'm really resonating with that family bond. Don't know if my family would agree. I'd have to ask them, but because I get told I yell a lot. But yeah, that's probably my biggest surprise of how well I'm a family man.
I think my biggest surprise was about, has it been 10 years? Maybe a little bit more. I walked into a family office with some big hitters. Big hitters. I was surprised how dumb they were. I was just shocked. When I walked out of that room after half an hour, I couldn't work out why they were so bloody wealthy. And, I was still, gunning it, but I wasn't as wealthy as what they were. Quickly worked out, is it luck? Sometimes you can just pick the right investment vehicle. Like, how you talked about CSL, right? Just imagine, and I can say that for Apple, I can use Commonwealth Bank, same sort of deal. Because I think when Commonwealth Bank floated, was it like $5 back in the 90s?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was $5.
The story, yeah.
Yeah, it's $170 now. So can you imagine if you put your life savings in like a Commonwealth Bank or a CSL or whatever it is?
5% of your portfolio.
Sorry?
Only 5% of your portfolio.
Well, it's 5% now because I've just copped it a couple of years ago. It would have been 100% when I was bloody young. But I just think that sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Financially, I'm talking about. You just stick money somewhere and it goes up like, 30, 40, 50x.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your comment about like whether it's a family office, judges, accountants, lawyers and whatnot. Sometimes we have this preconceived idea that because of the title someone has or the occupation they have or the qualification they have, that they're actually uber smart. And sometimes they're just uber smart in a very niche area that they use that skill in that application. Got to copy everything else, they're lacking. And I've come across that a lot. But they're very good at what they do. They just can't go beyond outside of that. So sometimes they lack emotional intelligence. Sometimes they lack just basic financial skills. Sometimes they'll lack understanding a deal structure. And so, yeah, I'm amazed at that sometimes. But then you just roll with it and you take advantage of it when you see it.
Yeah, I think for me, when I walked out of that meeting many, many years ago, it gave me so much confidence I could walk into anything. Because I quickly worked out, you're right, it's a perception that we have because they've got just a lot of money. They must be just uber smart. They must know everything about anything. What I found is that's not true whatsoever. So it's amazing.
But then every now and then you do come across a really clever cookie. And and they're the standouts. When you come across there and they're the ones that I'd actually like fund managers, I'd absolutely and you can spot the ones that are like that guy or that lady. I put money in that fund. Like, they know what.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Okay, let's keep rolling, dumbest purchase you've ever made, excluding cars, because you've just been dumb over a long period of time.
That's easier. And I could end the name. That one's an easy one. Like horses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you keep on doing it in perpetuity, so you can't.
I'm not buying any more horses. I've only got like 2 left, I think. And
are you done?
Yeah, I'm on my way out. Yeah, I'm not doing any more horses. That okay, I love but it's a mudge game and not anymore.
Well, let's exclude horses because you've been doing that for a long time. Dumbest purchase that you've ever done?
Well, I've done a lot of dumb purchases, mate, but buying cars and horses, there's not much room left for anything else. I bought a really expensive watch that I never wear. I got a Tag Heuer watch that I never wear. So that's a lot of money sunk there. What else is a dumb purchase? Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, for me, it was the watch. I mean, I'm not a watch person. I just got sucked in. Now, the word's not sucked in. Because I did work for the distributor and I got a substantial discount. Yeah, I just went and bought it thinking that I got a good deal and nah, it was just dumb.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's always examples of impulsive buying. You know, I remember going years back. I was in Singapore, and this was way back before we had phones with cameras, and this was back in dawn years. And I went to, I think it was called Lucky Plaza. Which was supposedly a cheap, you get good brand stuff cheaper and whatnot. And I got in there and I bought a video cam. You remember the old video cams?
I do.
Yeah, so I bought this video cam, and you think I got back here? Do you think I ever got it out of the box and used it?
Probably not.
No. And I got it. Like, the price was okay, but it was just a stupid purchase because I don't like the way I like videos. I don't even like being in photos or videos or anything, even though I'm doing this. But so that was a low cost stupid purchase. So I always a victim of impulsive buying. If I see something, I just want it, I just buy it.
There and then.
I'm one of those type of people. And then I bring it home and think,
what was the point of that? Nah. Okay, let's keep rolling, Mark. Oh, this is a good one. I know that I've been involved in these things, but I'll get your perspective first. Ever been involved in road rage? Be descriptive.
Yeah, not proud of it, but yes, I've been involved.
Give us the display. Just go for it.
So one as a victim of it, and when I say victim, nothing happened to me, but I got chased. And then another one.
Hang on, someone chased you with a car?
Yeah.
What did you do for someone to chase you in the car? I hope our children are not watching this because we're supposed to be the example.
Yeah, this is going way back. I think it was maybe 18, 19. And
oh, you were young.
Yeah. On both occasions, I was young. And so on this one, I was just flashing my lights because he was going too slow. Little did I realize there was 5 people in the car. I thought it was one guy on his own. And so I was flashing and whatnot. We're going down and near where I lived back then, lived in East Keilor. And so he stopped. I just went around him, and then he started tailgating me and so.
Oh wow.
And so I drove to the police station. Wasn't very far, so I drove to the police station and I got out of the car. And
you're off the hook?
No, they got out of the car. And they were coming for me.
And a police station?
Yeah, but they didn't realize. They were so angry with me, they didn't realize there was a police station. I just pointed to look. And they looked and said, we'll come back for you. We'll come back for you. I never saw
Oh, wow.
that then they took off because of the, obviously there was a police station there. So that wouldn't have been a good idea to attack me then. So that was on the receiving end. And then there was another time where I had a group of guys in my car, and there was just guys mouthing off at us on the other, in their car. Back in the day when you'd roll your windows down, play loud music, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, we got into an altercation on that, on a bit of road rage. But I was on that one, I was the winner, not the person being chased, and those guys regretted it.
Cheers! Wow. Here's road
rage those things. The when I was great.
Here's my road rage. Jeez, I wish I could say it when I was 18 or 19. Nah, it wasn't. It was recent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I say recent, I think it was about, I don't know, 6 years ago. I think I've
told you a victim of it, or you were a perpetrator?
No, I can't say I was one or the other, but I made it worse. I just made it worse. You know how I said to you I bought that Mustang?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bloody Mustang, right? It's that American bullshit, that rah, rah, rah. Okay. So I'm on the M1. By the way, you know that I can't drive manual. Like I'm really bad at it, right? But this thing, what happens when you press the clutch and you change gears, it makes like that noise. All right. Anyway, so I was doing 80 and someone decided to come on the side of me and they said something to me.
On the inside?
Yeah, so I'm driving down the lane. They've overtaken me and they put the window down doing 80 and they must have said something. I really didn't like that because they were young kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we were bloody I was bloody racing on the M1.
But no one got out of their cars and no. There's but no, just drag racing type stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So I decided that after I don't know a couple of minutes I was going to lose my license for 27 years. Thankfully, so far, I think I got away with it. That's the last time I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's that would have been fun though. Your adrenaline would have been pumping.
Yeah,
What was your top speed?
No, I don't want to disclose. No. Because my kids are going to listen to this. They're going to have my head. No, not doing that, right? Because you have to be a responsible father. You've got to lead the way.
25? Is that what you said?
No, I'm not saying. I'm actually, it was bloody bad. No, I'm not disclosing whatsoever. But I've got to tell you, mate, when you go through those gears, oh boy, I feel like an 18-year-old.
Yeah. Did you get these fourth going?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But you'll hardly win.
Oh, wow. Let's keep rolling, eh? Let's keep rolling. Nicest thing you've ever done not related to your family?
The nicest thing I ever did. As you know, Harry, I'm not a very nice person, but
Nicest thing you've ever done not related to your family? Nicest thing.
have you got one that you can share while I'm thinking about it?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, so I'll listen to you, but I'll think at the same time.
Okay, mate, you're struggling.
Yeah, I know, you're giving me some curlies here today.
Yeah, okay.
So the nicest thing that I've ever done, I was at the supermarket. I mean, even though my son does the supermarket most of the times, I just had to go, and I did see a young family struggling, and they were at the cash out register.
Yeah.
With two kids, maybe the age, I don't know. It looked like a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. And they continuously had to take things out of the supermarket trolley because they were obviously looking at
On a budget
Real?
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and my heart went out to them. So, I knew that the lady behind the cash register, because if you go to the same supermarket every week, you get to know the people,
Yeah.
right? And I actually said to this family, go fill up your trolley, don't hold back, and I'll pay for the whole thing. And she was getting teary, all right? And the husband, yeah, he broke down as well.
Yeah.
So I said to them, don't hold back. So they obviously went and did their supermarket. And as they were coming to see me, I said, you've only filled it up 3/4. I go all the way. So
So the alcohol did that, or
sorry?
did they go and load it up with alcohol?
No. You know what I realized? Because of the young kids, they load up with chocolates and ice creams and this and that. Look, I got to tell you, I felt bloody proud.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing. That's a really
I felt really proud. And I know there's a lot of people struggling in our community. It's easy for people like you and I to say that life's a breeze, but some people are doing it tough.
And you can see it. Yeah, you know.
Oh, you can see it everywhere.
Shoes because they can't afford to buy their own.
It's the whole thing, yeah.
You know, there are things like that.
Okay, mate, you've had 5 minutes to think about it. Get into that one.
That's probably the only nice thing I've ever done. But there was a young guy when back in the early days of Paragon, we had a business called Lifetime Planning, and it was a financial planning business, but for elderly people and so forth. And we were looking for, I guess it wasn't quite paraplanning, but it was like office support / paraplanning. And paraplanning is generally someone who helps a financial planner and helps them devise their statements of advice and that sort of stuff. So we had a handicap applicant, and this kid touched my heart a bit, and so we gave him a go. He had part of his handicap, he had a speech impediment.
Yep.
And so in the early days, we'd just we gave him a go. We put a lot of effort into teaching him. He was doing really well. And then he came to me and he asked, can I talk on the phones as well? Like, he wanted to talk to prospective clients and to help them with their issues. Because most times when you got calls, it was an urgent matter because they had to do it for pension or getting into the aged care facility, something like that. And it was very difficult to understand him because of the speech impediment. But we let him have a go, and he was always co-piloted with someone, and then if that person just couldn't understand him, then the co-pilot would intervene. But that's probably the nicest thing I've done, that gave that kid an opportunity. I knew. And then when the business got sold, the new employer kept him, and so I don't know where he is today, but because it was quite a while ago. But yeah, that I got
That's a nice thing.
a lot of reward from that.
That's a really nice thing. Okay, let's keep rolling. I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Yeah, can you give me some easy ones?
Now I am. There's two more questions, but this one, I'm going to put myself on the spot too. Give me, by the way, we're not giving can you do that financial advice crap that we have to spend?
Yeah, no, we're just doing opinions, no financial advice. Yeah, you took advice from us, you'd probably blow up anyway. So yeah, just take.
There you go. So yeah,
to what it in. It's for training purposes. I think a lot of people say for that.
like, is that what they say?
Training purposes
And let's buy horses.
Yeah, go buy horses, buy shares, sell too early, keep the shit ones for too long, all that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. You've been involved in markets for a long time. I know that you're involved now.
Yeah.
Give me one stock that doubles in 3 years.
One stock that doubles to 3 years.
Yep. I don't need any explanation.
Why?
Sorry?
Do I have to tell you why?
No. I don't need explanations. Just give me the stock.
For me, one that'll triple in 3 years is I'm just thinking whether I should talk about one that I'm actually on the board of.
No, good. No, I'm sure that as long as people don't understand that we're not giving financial advice, we're not telling you to buy things because you're involved, I'm involved. It's just what you actually believe.
Yeah. So the one that I'm a chairman of, non-executive chairman of, is called IDT Australia. It is a pharmaceutical manufacturer. It's the old government Institute of Drug and Technology, and it's a contract manufacturer for pharmaceuticals. Does work for people like Sanofi, Acuity, and a number of other clients. The capability of that business and its facilities and what it can generate and the profitability it can generate, where it's only starting to touch the surface. And so if I had to call one that, I won't say it's triple in 3 years because that's giving it a target, but one that I think will be a lot higher in 3 years than it is today would be that one.
Okay, so I have to disclose that. I've got
and I'm a shareholder of that as well as being.
So I'm a shareholder of that as well. And since we've touched on that, again, we're not promoting IDT, but we're just saying why we're actually involved. So that's sitting at the moment at about 10 cents.
It is.
Is that right?
Yeah, about 10 cents. Yep.
And the belief is that perhaps over the next 12 months it breaks even.
I'm optimistic that we'll start making money next financial year. Whether that's for the whole year or by the end of that year, we'll be on an annualized basis. Too early to know. But it's a company it was a big turnaround situation. Unfortunately, they hit on some hard times before I got there. They were heavily geared towards the vaccine for COVID and the government contract on that, which ended up going to Moderna. And we're talking a bit serious here at the moment, but and so at that point, shareholders had enough and wanted a bit of a change of focus, change of people at the head of the company and so forth. So that's when I got involved, got approached for some shareholders. And so when we got there about 2.5, 3 years ago, whenever it was I started, we had zero revenue. And because it's called GMP, which is good manufacturing process, good manufacturing. I forget what the P stands for, but it's an FDA approved facility, TGA approved facility, and so forth. And it's a 10 factories on one campus that are all have capabilities of manufacturing cancer drugs and APIs, which are active pharmaceutical ingredients, and medicinal cannabis, and so forth. And so we've in the last few years, we've effectively gone from zero revenue to about this year, we should be somewhere between 15 to 20 mil of revenue. And we're getting to that point where you get the inflection point where the fixed costs that are associated with running a GMP manufacturing site under an FDA license to keep the lights on, to keep that licensing. Once you pass that threshold, then you start delivering some really nice profits. And so we're not far from that element.
Okay, that's a good one. Look, I have to add that one as well for all the reasons that you've just explained. I won't go on with that, but again, not more than 5% in my situation.
Are you piggybacking my pick, are you?
Sorry?
Are you piggybacking my pick?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh my, well, you're right. You know,
Yeah. No, you are because I saw it. The reason why I got in, not because you're involved. I mean, you pointed out to me because when I looked at it when it was virtually at zero revenue, I looked at the asset and where IDT raised money. I think I can't remember, 6 or 7 cents. The asset was worth 5 to 6 cents at that time anyway. So there was a downside.
Just to clarify, when you say the asset, what we're talking about is IDTs are in a unique situation that a lot of listed companies don't have, where we own the land and buildings, including all the plants and equipment that's in there. And so, that we've recently secured a loan facility, which effectively means we don't need to raise capital to get to this level of profitability that we're targeting and so forth and fund our growth. So that adds to the credence of the share price appreciation as well. So I agree that the fundamentals are there. It's all about execution. So
Yeah. Now, so now it's all about because
it'll be because we don't execute.
Correct.
So my attractiveness to getting into IDT was what I was paying for the shares at that time was probably the same value as the actual the land value and the property. So whilst I knew that there were hardly any revenues, I gambled at that point in time that the company would have a good story to tell over the next couple of years and slowly working out like that. So my downside was not much. So I'm hoping that this doubles and triples as well. We will see. That there's one more that I think that can do really well next couple of years. I won't give you the reasons why. Is A2 Milk.
A2 Milk. Yeah.
The reason why I say that because them penetrating the Chinese market, which is massive, just massive. I think this is one story that will go very well over the next 3 to 5 years.
The only criticism I've got of that company is that board are cash hoarders and they don't like paying dividends.
Correct.
They just love sitting on the cash. And so it's one of those companies that has still got a very nice growth profile, but it's a lazy balance sheet.
Yeah. I think they're learning their lesson now, Mark, because a lot of shareholders are crying out for those sort of things.
You wouldn't be able to spend the cash to buy additional assets. I'm not saying become West Farmers and become this multi-conglomerate thing, but you can't just sit on all the cash for waiting for in case there's a rainy day or anything like that. You're a listed company and you're there on behalf of shareholders. So if I just have one criticism of that company, they just sit on their cash for too long.
Yeah, I think it's sitting at about $7.50, $8. I've recently bought.
It's been in the high range trading for quite a while. When the market trapped itself years ago, heavily, and because you remember when China had the mini spat with Australia, A2 Milk got impacted by that 8 times. Yeah, so it hasn't really recovered from that. Correct. Their price point of it. I agree. It's got good prospects.
Correct. Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
The S&P 500 hit its highs a couple of months ago at 6,100 points.
Yes.
We know what happened when with the tariffs and all that sort of bullshit that's going on now.
Well, the Trump factor. Yes.
Trump factor, the love factor, the unpredictable factor. S&P's gone from 6,100 down to 5,300. It jumps up and down daily, can range between 2, 3, 4, 5% daily. In fact, on one day, it jumped up 10%.
Yeah.
Being now at 5,300, give me the lowest point where the S&P 500 will hit.
There's no reason why it can't get to 4.5. I don't personally believe we're out of the woods. I know the tariff noise created a lot of volatility in the market, but there's going to be more volatility coming. And not just related to tariffs. I can see he's already softening on the tariff front over in America, but there'll be other stuff come through. Interest rates will still play some roles. There's elections here, there's elections in other countries. So I'm not massively bullish on the entire market right now. Doesn't mean I'm bearish and I'm going to sell everything and just sit on cash. But I think there's downside still to be had. Can't tell you when. Don't know any of that. But I would just keep when you talk about 5% of your money here and that investment, don't be afraid to have some cash sitting on the side waiting for opportunities. I'm not saying you're going to get a lot of these 10% drops in one day stuff, but there's a term we use, dead cat bounce. You're forgetting that term. What that means is when markets hit in bear market zone, which is when they fall to certain percentages and so forth, you'll have these sharp rises, and then the inexperienced investors think, it's good time to get in because it's up and running now, the market. And it catches out a lot of investors, and then there's another leg down, and then another leg down, and it becomes a bit of a grind. We've experienced it a lot in the microcap market. So the microcap market has not had a bullish market. It's been the top end of the markets. It's had a bull mode, but the microcap, it's still hard to raise capital. Good stories go up a little bit, but your bad news gets smashed. So don't be surprised if we see a bit of that at the top end of the market over the next few years. But just spot the opportunities,
Okay, so your target's 4,500
as the low end. Yeah.
Yeah. So mine's 3,750 to 4,000.
Say that again.
My target is 3,750 to 4,000.
Okay. Oh, you got a zone. Okay, you can have a zone.
Yeah, no, I'm very pessimistic about the American market.
Well, I remember it was a previous, I can't remember which podcast it was. What did you call 20-30% decline in the market?
20%, yeah.
30%.
And I went short on the NASDAQ. I got my bloody timing right. Bloody did well out of it. Sold 75% of my position.
Yeah.
And did really well. Left a little bit left on the table, thinking that it can go further down. It's worked against me thus far with the little position that I've got now, but I think that it can keep going down south. Nothing's been resolved yet.
No. And
I think even if it does get resolved, let's be optimistic. I reckon these tariffs, 145% tariff, 300%, all this bullshit, they're going to clear that out fairly soon. If it's not next week, next month, sooner or later it'll get sorted out. What I'm concentrating on is earning guidance. And I think companies are going to guide downwards. I think the multiple that they're putting on these companies are very rich. I think the average multiple should be anything between 16 to 17 times. I do my maths and I get to 3,750 to 4,000 points.
That is what about the overall market, the multiple it trades at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, during January, February, the tech sector, they were trading on stupid multiples, right? It was unheard of. So it was going to come back naturally anyway. The tariffs have just been an excuse.
Yeah, but there's always an excuse, whether it's real. There's always an event that, you don't predict per se, but there's always an event that, that makes sense. Like if that event happens, of course, the market will. That one just thinks when that event passes, the market automatically go back up. They do over time. Like if you're going to hold up for 5 to 10 years, sure, it'll go back up and go higher and all that. So if you're that type of investor, then don't even watch the market. But if you're trying to pick entry points, look for value. There's another saying we use: don't catch falling knives. And so when markets are bearish, you got to be careful you're not buying and sitting there catching falling knives. Let the dust settle. Wait for some consolidation in this new pricing market. As I still think the S&P's got potential for more fall.
Look, on the last point with that, before we sign off, the other pessimistic view that I've got the market, whether it hits 3,750 or 4,500, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I don't believe, how we've been used to the V recoveries? Yeah, it's fallen down 20%. It takes, 6 months, 9 months to fully recover. It's just a gut feeling that I have based on nothing. I think it's going to take a long time to recover.
I hope not, but it could. Look at the microcaps in Australia. They're still having.
Yeah, they've been suffering for a long time.
You know, the asset class that hasn't been hit is property.
Yes. Especially in Australia.
Shares, two-tiered systems, yes, some value's coming back to shares, but there's still more value to get. But property hasn't really fallen in a great. No, like you've had a few quarters of 1% here or 1% there, but you haven't had like 10, 15% carnage on property.
No.
And so, I don't know if that's going to happen because we have an undersupply and over demand. But and that's another one to keep an eye on. Is that's
who knows? Mate, I'm gonna close off now. So
thank you for answering all those bills. I feel like I've just been grilled.
No, it's good. It's good. We did it on the spot and we survived. I love the road rage. You went to the police. You chicken shit. You absolute chicken shit. I would have been there with a Mustang, mate. I would have walked out. No, I wouldn't have.
5-on-1, mate. I'm not play that game. So you got to use your brain, mate. Or
Have a great one. Cheers.
no worries, mate. Next time.
Bye.